Today we're going to be talking about game collecting, a hobby that is extremely expensive but brings the most joy to us retro fans.
Also, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy IX, the Excalibur Perfect run.
And then after that we got a special guest playing Fzero performing some almost record-breaking times. So stay tuned for some Power Talk. I'm Mr. Andy Madness.
And I'm Nostalgia Kid 84.
So we're going to go ahead and start off with game collecting. Let me tell you, this hobby, whoa.
It's taking the land by storm.
It is, especially around our area right here in Moorhead. I remember when you were the only one I knew, and then an old roommate of mine by the name of Eric Riddle, he was really into it. And then suddenly,
it's blown up.
I mean, like 4, 5, 6 different collectors in no time.
In no time, yeah.
And, wow, it's just crazy. But why don't you get, what got you started? How about we start on that?
My adventure in collecting started about, 2013. About 13 years ago now, 14 years ago. So
wow.
Not to date myself.
Was that a new millennium resolution or something? I will get all the old games.
Well, I don't know what it was, but I started in high school. And it was around 1999, 2000 when I first really got into collecting. I just fell in love with the nostalgia of these games. I mean, I played them growing up as a kid, and as I was playing them as an adult and a young adult, there was something about them it's hard to describe of how the feeling that it gives you when you play, and it's just something that you can't find in the new games. And it's all elements of the game really. It's from the story, it's from the music.
No, I perfectly understand.
The gameplay.
Now, I never was a collector, but I remember when I was about around the ages of 9 and 10, my grandfather had an NES, and I was in Tennessee, and I played Metroid on it during the summer, and this is just a feeling, there was just a great feeling of whenever you cut on an NES title, you hear that 8-bit music, and you're just playing these games, and it's just a feeling there's no word for it. It's almost like... Right. Because I didn't live really in that time period. I didn't really play Metroid younger or anything. It was just like, that was my first time playing it.
Well, I'll tell you, an example is Chrono Trigger. And for me, that's a game I can remember almost everywhere I was when I was playing the game, at what points. I can remember at Christmas, it was really cold. There was snow. I was in my grandfather's basement in Lima, Ohio. And I had my feet propped up on a stove. We had a television in the basement. And the television was on the stove, and it was only like a 13-inch screen. It was really small, as an old television, and I would sit in a chair and prop my feet up on the stove, and I can just remember, playing through Chrono Trigger and going to the floating continent, and just stuff like that. Those memories are still with me today. I can remember what I was wearing. I remember what I was wearing when I was playing it, and that was the kind of feeling that I wanted to capture and take with me for the rest of my life, and maybe even pass down to kids of my own someday. And that's the reason why I think collecting is important.
Yeah,
at least for me. I mean, everybody has their own reasons. I mean, there's a lot of pride in everything. There's from the artwork on the boxes and everything is really, really cool. But there's that nostalgia factor that's just it's hard to explain the feelings that it gives a person.
Well, I think it's about time we introduce the guy that owns this wonderful collection. He's from Ashland, Kentucky. He's a personal friend of ours. So we'd like to introduce, his actual name's Justin Wright, but we'd like to introduce him what we know him as better, the champ, Just Incredible.
Wow, what's that music? That's so good. It's good to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Have a seat on the white chair. You're not one of us. No, I'm joking with you. So Justin, obviously, very impressive collection.
Yeah.
What motivates this?
Yeah. What prompted this?
Yeah.
Well, a long time ago, I used to play a lot of these games, but as we were kids, we'd always we buy the game, we would pull the game out of the box, and we just throw the box away.
So many of us did.
That doesn't matter.
We performed a surgery on the box that no one will ever repeat when they become a collector.
And a few years ago, I was like, well, I've got all these games that I love so much, and I was like, I want to like preserve them, like restore what I had before. And a good way of doing that is just looking around and looking for all the games that I used to play. And a lot of them that I used to play are right here on this table here.
It's a great way to think about it. And I know, we all know because we're your friends, we know you. But let everybody know, you're particularly good at Mega Man and Mega Man X. All the Mega Men probably on the Nintendo, but Mega Man X, Mega Man X2, Mega Man X3, you kind of specialize in those. How did you get so good? I mean, what does it take to be the Mega Man Master?
Well, a lot of practice, a lot of memorization of where everything is in the game, and just dedication to being the best that you can be.
Yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. I lived in a resident hall with this man right here. I watched him play a stage. Was it a Mega Man X or Mega Man X2?
The intro stage of Mega Man X2.
Intro stage of Mega Man X2. He was blindfolded. He was standing out in the hallway. He had his controller standing out in the hallway. Was not looking at the screen at all. And he beat the stage. And that's pretty impressive if you ask me.
Yeah.
He has several no-hit runs with Mega Man X2. Different types of runs, and
which need to be put on YouTube.
They will be.
They need to be. They're very impressive to watch. You know, and it just needs to happen. But I mean, getting back to the collecting part of it, you know, there's a lot. Are there titles here that you didn't play as a kid that you rediscovered?
Actually, there is a few. I've never played the Samurai Showdown on the Super Nintendo, but I always played it on the arcade, the Neo Geo,
yep.
And that what really got me into playing this. And when I finally played it, it looked so much like the Neo Geo a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, the gameplay is a little bit different. It's not, the controls aren't quite the same, but it's just that feeling that going back to 1993, back when I used to play this game at the local Walmart, because they had it, the 4-in-1 games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know you started playing Final Fantasy on the PlayStation, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
With Final Fantasy VII. And I know you have just a love for this game like not too many people in the world do. But now you have Final Fantasy II and you have Final Fantasy III. What was it like to go back and to revert to 16-bit after having played them on the PlayStation? And what do you think about Final Fantasy III and II now?
They're very good games, and I wish I had played them sooner, but, you know, it's never too late.
Right. And after you played them, you felt, you know, this is worth to add to my collection.
You felt they were worthy to have as a memorization.
Exactly.
It's like
and a good
preserving them. Yeah, that's the word.
Of the game, of the evolution of the Final Fantasy series as a whole.
So I know here you also have a CIB of X3, and that's it's a very hard to find CIB.
That's a rare one. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I remember when you first got it, I asked you, I was like, oh, so you just buy it? And you go, no, I've actually had my X3 since the game came out. Mm-hmm. So you actually just had to buy the box and booklet, but I mean, that's really special.
I kept the booklet.
Yeah, so all you need was the box. It's really special though, that you literally kept your X3 so long.
That's what's special.
Yeah.
The carts, maybe not the boxes, but at least the carts are your own, right?
Yeah. And that's something really cool to me. That really is. That's just something like you just upgraded it kind of.
Yeah, and it's kind of a funny story. What did you do with your original X3 box?
Oh yeah, back when I was a kid, I made them. I cut the box foolishly. You know, that's kind of crazy to say, but
these days it's crazy to say.
Yeah, these days. But I made it into a little card. You know, because I had a small compartment to put everything in, and I just thought the box was a hindrance. And how dumb was I then? But looking back on it now, you're like,
yeah.
oh.
But I mean, it actually. Back then, it looked kind of cool as a card, and you just didn't think about that.
I mean, that's much better than just getting it and ripping it open. I remember getting what is a now valuable CIB, the Super Mario World one. I just remember getting it and just rip and just taking the game out, you know. But you know, it's been really cool to talk to you about that collecting and stuff. I think it's wonderful to see somebody with that. But we're gonna go ahead and cut to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back to talk about the Final Fantasy IX Excalibur II Perfect Game.
Right.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Big stylish and now one of the best values in America. Just for a limited time, buy the Super NES Superset and get 5 complete Mario games standard. Mario! You'll find the Superset is like no other system. In performance, handling, and mode 7 control, you'll get Super Mario World, and for $3.50 in postage, Super Mario All-Stars free with 4 Mario games in one. Mario! Stop by your Nintendo dealer today.
Don't forget Super Nintendo Super Set.
And welcome back to Power Talk. We're here with Just Incredible Right the Champ, and he's about to talk about his Final Fantasy IX Excalibur Perfect run. So how did you get into this Final Fantasy IX file here?
It was inspired by my Final Fantasy VII and 8 Perfect files that I have on my YouTube channel. The address will be right down below.
Shameless plug.
And a friend of mine by the name of Christopher Acosta, which I'll give a shout out to, he actually got me into this game because of the story and of all the nostalgia that it brings back from all the older Final Fantasies, of all the references that has in it. And I was really curious to see how the game was. And after completely playing through it the first time, I decided to see if there was a perfect game challenge for it. And lo and behold, I come across gamefaqs.com and I see the Excalibur II Perfect Game Challenge. So a big light bulb got in my hand. I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. So after doing my homework, I started doing this run a few years ago, and I got pretty good at it. And then I consulted a few people that have been on the FF9 boards, which I want to give a quick shout out to. I want to give a shout out to Atomos for the guide. I want to shout out CamDad04 for mainly teaching me a lot of the stuff about the game. Also, fellow players Illusion Gamer 90, Monkey Slinger, and also a very special player over in Europe under the name Zijinku. I hope I didn't butcher that name too harsh. But they really helped me a lot, and I'm one of the leading players of this challenge right now.
Right, you've got the only file that's present on YouTube that has the perfect file completed with the new challenge added.
The new content that recently was expanded.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the new content.
The guide has been changed and revamped several times over the last 5, 6, 7 years. But I have the newest version of it, which the guide for it is in its final stages of revision. And once that is done, it will be posted on the website. And
that's pretty big. That's pretty special.
Yes.
That you have added to that. So
I have the first and only run so far, and I'm sure a lot of people will repeat that.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at some footage. This is your original footage recorded off his VHS, and he's just going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that he went through trying to complete this challenge in a perfect way.
Okay, this part of the game, this is on disc 3 at the Ibsen's Castle, where you get ready to visit the 4 shrines and the Guardians. A lot of the aspects of this game is random number generated, like random encounters, how the battles go, stuff like that. And just to get these perfect runs where you have nothing that wastes time at all takes a lot of patience, a lot of dedication, and a lot of research on knowing what to do off the top of your head, because you just can't jump in here and just do this immediately.
And you got to it takes a lot of resets as well.
Yes, resetting will get to you.
And that's the thing I wanted to jump on. A lot of people can say, well, it's just soft resetting. The thing is, you still have to know the optimal path to take to get the least chance of getting that encounter. You can't just run into a room and just start moving around everywhere. You have to know the optimal path, which I feel like that's where the research comes in.
Yeah, and a lot of these boss battles here are also luck dependent, and it takes a lot of resetting just to get right. This wasn't the optimal battle for this part of the game, but it was the next best thing, considering what has happened before this battle and after. As you see, getting the Orichalcum there, that is part of the guide, and that is a very hard skill to get. Utilizing every character's abilities is key for this challenge.
And also, look how quick you go through the menus. I mean, that's something else that's probably took a lot of time.
Well, in battles, it's not really, you just hit whatever command and whatnot. But mostly menu navigations, like going through equipment setups, ability setups, and going through the shops, purchasing and selling all your unnecessary stuff as quickly as possible to cut down on time.
Right, and speaking of time, obviously we had to cut out some of the screens here for time. We couldn't show all the content that he's been through. We'd be here for several hours. But so just, you know, in case viewers are saying, oh, well, they cut out this or that. Yeah, we cut out some stuff just for time, just so he can talk about some key points to how he finished his perfect run.
And what's really special about this part, we left it in here, but even after that boss battle, you have to go right back to that save point that I just started from without an encounter. And that's extremely, extremely lucky on my part. The three runs that I've done of this challenge, this most recent run is the only time I've ever gotten to this part without a random encounter. And that is probably a 1 in 128 chance. I'm just giving a rough estimate, but it's extremely crazy.
So what is your current time? Like, how fast did you do this challenge? What is your time?
The time on the game is 11 hours, 18 minutes, 52 seconds. But it took me 4 months to do all this work. So I was dedicated a lot of my free time to this challenge just to get the test of this version done.
So one could say it takes about 11 hours.
All right, don't cut anybody off here. Get back to your thought in a second. Did you see how fast he navigated the menu there?
Yeah, you have to practice that a lot in this challenge.
That's pretty incredible.
It's everywhere from the start of the game to the bitter end. I mean, it's a lot of menu memorization, a lot of muscle memory into your controls. I mean, you can't mess up. If you do, you're going to lose time. And we're getting ready to do a purchasing segment here. This is actually where I purchased the last missable equipment in the game. As you go from disc to disc, there are items that you can't get anymore. So before you leave a certain disc, you have to purchase enough of them to make all the other equipments that are also missable.
And just to clarify, this is a 4-disc game, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 discs, yeah, on the PlayStation.
But just the first 3 discs is where you have missable items. And here's where I begin the massive selling task. I mean,
and the speed. I mean, he knows right where he needs to go and very quickly.
And there's a few. This took quite a few tries. I mean,
and you have currently the best time record that's known on the internet, right?
Well, I have
pretty close.
Yeah, I'm one of the top 2 or 3 players. Just for this version where there's extra detours. I mean, you have to base your time off of what's extra.
Right, well, on the extras, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely, like I said, so with this is a perfect game, which means 99 of every item, right?
No, not necessarily. The details of that will be in the Perfect Game Guide, which you can always check that out. We won't have enough time to explain that here. And now, this is the boss battle at the end of this particular segment of the game that we're going to do. And this was extremely lucky because not only do I not get hit, but I also steal some critical items. But a lot of the strategies are mainly derived from your abilities that you learn and the equipments that you are wearing. So some of the equipments that I'm wearing protect me from certain attacks, and also some of the abilities that I have will make the battle a lot easier. And Queena's Knight ability here is one of those abilities. See, now that the Earth Guardian's asleep, he won't be able to act.
And what level is Zidane at?
Both of those characters are at level 1.
Level 1. And this is at the end of disc 3. And they're at level 1.
Because you can't waste time getting in battles, so they don't get a chance to really level up.
There's only 4 battles in the entire game that you're forced to take experience. Tantarian at the beginning of disc 3 and the 3 forced Pandemonium battles at the end of the disc. But apart from that, everybody is at level 1.
That's pretty incredible.
And there's multiple paths too.
For stat allocation, and that's part of the perfect game definitions. There's been intense debate for years of what the optimal stat path should be, but there's never been a conclusive answer. So what the community has done, we've devised 4 stat paths, and they've been given A, B, C, and there's also a combined stats path. And that's just essentially getting the maximum stats of all 4 stats while leaving room for final equipment setups that you can still get your max stats, because there's equipment in the game that gives you bonuses too.
Right.
Okay.
Which is how I mean, obviously they can still attack for so much, even though they're level 1.
And this is the final battle of the challenge, which is obviously the easiest, and this is the most perfect segment that I've ever done, and this was done on the first try, I might add. As you can see, everyone is near death, but that really makes it very advantageous for Steiner's charge ability, as you just saw. And now immediately the boss is already dead. That battle didn't even last, what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And everyone is at level 1 except for Freya right there, who's at level 25.
And the reason why you level her up is because
it's forced.
Yeah, it's forced.
Yeah.
And that is the whole challenge. What I do here, I just do my customary save because I always like to keep a file to where I can go over and get the Excalibur II sword for people who may have not been able to get it before. It's one of those trophy items for speedrunning the game.
Yeah. Now this challenge ends when you get the Excalibur sword, correct?
It depends. Yeah. When the battle is over, the challenge is pretty much done. You can pick up the sword at any time before the 12-hour mark.
Okay, I see.
But I just save there because that's the quickest possible way to get your time recorded. Because the time of getting over, picking up the sword, and getting to the save point is roughly the same.
Okay. Now, there's some footage that's not on here, obviously, and we want to direct you to his YouTube, and the link will be in the description below. So go check that out. You also have another really great battle that you had a lot of luck on your side. Do you want to explain that just briefly?
The Tantarian battle that I previously mentioned on Disc 3. The battle strategies for that, for those that are familiar with the challenge, the strategy is still the same, but I have found a new way to set up for it. It's pretty ingenious.
And his way is very effective. I've seen the video, and it's a pretty quick fight. And let's just say Lucky 7 is
the way to go.
Yeah, it's involved.
It's the only way to go for that battle, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that's pretty. I think I've seen this. I think you actually had shown me this when you came to my house once. You've shown me this. I believe you had to do it 3 times in a row, right?
The Lucky 7s, that you have to get all 3 of them, that's the fastest.
Yeah.
But you can't get, 2 7s because of the way the damage, the HP values come out, the way the damage formulas work, and all that.
Now that's something that's always interested me about this challenge was now you get into the math of the game. And I'm not like really big on math as it is.
The logistics.
But when you start looking into data like that and just seeing what does how much and what it takes to take out this enemy, it's really interesting. It's like when it's just I just love that kind of stuff. Like in Turtles 2, there's hit point value, and I didn't know about that till recently, and it's just amazing how stuff like that is put into games.
And even though that I've completed the challenge, the game is still evolving to this day. Strategies will probably still be found out for a lot of different stuff, but my run is pretty reset friendly. It's pretty accurate, and it's pretty successful.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to see Justin playing some F-Zero. It's a master mode run, so stay right here. You don't want to miss it.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
If you were colorblind and had an IQ less than 12, then you wouldn't care which portable you had. Of course, you wouldn't care if you drank from the toilet either. Game Gear.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Power Talk. In the essence of time, I'm going to turn this segment over to Justin. He's going to do a F-Zero Master Mode run. So, Justin, take it away.
Alrighty. F-Zero Master Mode is the most difficult mode of the F-Zero Grand Prix. To unlock it, all you do, you just have to complete any league in Expert Mode, and you will unlock Master Mode for that league. And the difficulty that sets Master Mode apart from the other leagues is that the cars are much faster than their top speeds that are indicated when you select your car. They are also heavier, which means they will push you around if you get in their way. And also their speed hardly ever decreases for anything except for turning. So without further ado, I always use the Blue Falcon for my Master Mode runs. It's just the best car that I feel comfortable with using. So let's get to it. Mute City is always the first race in each league. In the Night League, it is a daytime race. In Queen League, it is a evening race, and the King League is a night race. And the basic strategy for the first lap of every race is to get into a strategic position to where I can take the lead whenever we get to a difficult portion of the track. And then once I get the lead, try to maintain it. And as I cross the finish line, I get a speed boost for me to use whenever I wish. And it's uncommon at the Stingray, and as you see, that's what happens. They will push you around. But hopefully I can get back to a decent position with that speed boost. The speed boosts are a very important element in this game, because without any speed arrows to run over on certain courses, this is your only way of getting back into top speed. And without it in master mode, you are done. And also, I let go of the accelerator there to not fall behind. And just like that, I'm in first. It is extremely difficult to get a perfect 30,600 points. Or I'm sorry, 500 points. 30,500 in master mode. I have done it, it's just extremely hard. And you gotta be a little bit of lucky also. Basically, your best place to use the speed boost is through this part with all the mines, because all the other cars will actually go the normal route, and any shortcuts that you can take are legal. And also, you have to finish in the top 3 of every race. It does not matter if you are in third, second, or even first. As long as you get in the top 3, it does not matter. But there is a safety rank for each lap of the race, so you have to be in that position or better to continue racing. And that was pretty good. Deathwind 2 is a little trickier. You got the wind pushing you, and there's a lot, and the course is not oval as its for a previous counterpart. And that was pretty good. It's not perfect, but I'm in first. That's all that matters. Now for this course, I always hold my speed boost in case I need them, because just because you're in first doesn't mean you can just blow your speed boost right away, and that I missed. Now I'm gonna have to use it. That was unfortunate. Ooh, I about got hit again. You know what? I'm going to stay right behind you for a minute. Now this is just the part of this is the time when I just hang back and relax. I'm going to wait for my moment. Like that. And you got to have fast reflexes. And you just tap your buttons. You don't hold them down, because you will spin out of control if you do. And I managed to save a boost. I didn't need it. Oh, now that was forced. Yeah, if you hit a car dead in the back, you will lose all your speed. So far, the cars have been pretty nice to me. Got 2 boosts, final lap to use whenever I need to. All right, 2 down. Now, the one track that gives me the most trouble out of any of them is this one. The cars are already on my tail. I'm just gonna hang back and try to get around them. Didn't work out. But again, that first lap, you don't have a speed boost to work with. Ooh, that congestion gave me a small sense of security there. I'm trying to get around him, but he's not letting me through. Like I said, those cars will push you around. They will give you trouble. I've played this game for 15 years, and I've come to learn a lot. That might have been an ill-fated boost. Oh, he ran into the flashing car there. That's the other thing, those flashing cars are like moving time bombs. If you hit them, they will explode and they will drain your power. Speaking of which, I need to be very careful of my power. As a precaution, I will probably heal a little bit here. And hopefully that will get me through. Ooh, didn't see that coming. Wow. What do you think about that?
3 number ones.
Man, I was scared for a minute. Okay, that's the hard part. This is my favorite course of all of them. It's just so fun to race. And I'm very consistent on this course. So this is kind of like a calm before the storm, before the final track. Ooh, uncharacteristic of me to miss that soft land. Also, when you jump in the air off of a ramp, if you hold down on the D-pad, as you land, you will not lose your speed. You will maintain it. Likewise, if you hold up on the D-pad when you come off of a ramp, you'll actually nosedive back onto the track. And all the AI cars will take the track instead of that shortcut. So you do have a few advantages that you can exploit on Master Mode, but very few. And also the score in the top left-hand corner of the screen is irrelevant. That's just there for some generic scoring system that the programmers decided to put into the game. I mean, you get nothing for a perfect score. All that does, for every 10,000 points you get an extra car. And for master mode, it can help you. Because there are some tracks that are very frustrating. Try and get around them. Those things pose a huge threat to your run. I'm going to go ahead and burn a boost. I've got one to give. Okay, one final. There we go. All right.
Pretty good run so far.
Final course. The Firefield is exclusive to the King League. It is the longest course and it's the most treacherous. Ooh, that could hurt. I did that turn completely wrong. Yeah, and even if you try to maneuver into them, they'll hold their ground on you. My only chance to get by is through the split. Yeah, you gotta know how your car bounces off those edges to know how to effectively maneuver into a position to stay on track. Okay, I'm gonna hang back here a minute. I have a feeling that green car is gonna get in my way.
Actually kind of used them.
Yeah, I'm not going to use my boost. If I don't need to use it, and if I have nothing to gain from it, why waste it? So yeah, on this course, I do make use of that power meter. I do take some hits intentionally. Everything I do is for a reason. I'm not really sure at this point I could get first, but I'm not going to chance it. Be nice. Okay, I still got a boost, so saving booster key, and this is an example of that. Okay, someone's catching up to me. That's another thing. If you get hit while you're in that little pink field, you will slide like ice. So that's why I got out of there when a car was coming up behind me. It's one of those expert strategies. Or in this case, a master strategy. Oh, a double whammy. Good thing I avoided that. That would have been disastrous. Okay, I have no boost left, so I got to do this hardcore. Taking. Wow. This is an awesome run. Look at that.
All number ones. All number ones.
Woo! I'm the champ. You got what it takes? Come on.
Oh, folks, we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey there, cubeheads, wake up! You know that $49.95 check that Granny sent you? You know that'll get you your very own Nintendo Entertainment System. Get one and you can play the new Mega Man 6 and battle evil robots. Stop watching those Wing commercials.
I can even shower with it.
And there's Soda's Revenge, Star Tropic 2, where you battle Soda, the man with no face. No more mommy soaps for you.
As teardrops fall.
So, thank Granny! Cash the checks and get the NES. You have watched too much TV already.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Power Talk. We got to talk about game collecting, which is a very expensive hobby.
Right, we also got to see this man's perfect Excalibur II Final Fantasy IX file, and thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. And I got to see you kick some serious butt at Fzero Champ.
Thank you.
Well, we hope to see y'all next time on Power Talk, and until then, just remember, the power is in your hands.